It's so quiet in the woods this morning. Really, really quiet. First time in here this year, I got that Yuletide winter solstice vibe. There's not really any birdies around. The odd robin might come to say hello, but I haven't seen an animal or anything. It's really quiet. I really like this. A little spooky, but nice, very, very pleasant. It's a good time to talk about something to do with owls and UFOlogy. Now let me tell you something. In 1983 or 84, I was a kid cycling back from a nighttime job I had, washing dishes and cleaning tables in a restaurant. And the last bus was at 11:30, so I used to have to cycle home on the Tallaght bypass when Tallaght was being kind of built as a new town. And one night I'm cycling home along when the bypass wasn't even built. It was still a signal. It wasn't even a dual carriageway. And in front of me, an owl appears flying like this. I'm not kidding you. In slow motion. A huge white owl like that. It flew like this. Like there wasn't enough wing flapping to keep it airborne. And it cut across in front of me and went off and vanished into the fields towards a place called Killin Heights. Killin Heights is a housing scheme, a suburb in the town of Tallaght, which was built around and in amongst a load of megalithic stuff and druidic stuff. And they had at that time enormous poltergeist activity along a whole strip of houses. And it was the same time that happened, so they were probably connected somehow. Plus, I wasn't very happy at the time. I just didn't like what I was. I was only a kid though, but I was, you know me, I was born neurotic. But this brings us to owls and UFOs. Now, I first heard about this. I think it was in Whitley Strieber's Communion back in the day when that book first came out in the 80s. Very good book, and in his shamanic awakening, Whitley Strieber kept seeing or having visions of an owl staring at him before he saw the UFOs, and there was owls everywhere. I think John Mack in one of his books covered the topic as well. What has the owl and the alien got to do with one another? Well, an owl kind of looks a bit like a grey alien. Unlike most birds, it doesn't have its eyeballs on the side of its head. It has them on the front of its face. And I often think there's something related between the Mothman thing in Point Pleasant and an owl, because that had its eyes on the front of its face. And they said it flew like it didn't really beat its wings. It just kind of like did this and followed people and followed cars. And that place was a massive UFO flapping that was going on. And then the amazing tragedy that happened at the Christmas Eve, and at the Silver Bridge. Now, owls are, in mythology, well, they're pretty obvious. They see in the dark. They're often associated with magic, very much associated with the feminine. That's why, and they're also connected to the likes of Athena, very strongly associated with the owl. And the owl is a very interesting animal. It's used for wildlife management. The owl lets you know how well a place is doing. Wherever you see an owl, the wildlife is thriving. And they can tell what types of wildlife are there because owls can't digest bones. And what they do is they vomit up pellets of the undigested bones of all the rodents and the frogs and the little reptiles they eat. And if you put that in water, you can take all the bones out and tell exactly what species of animals are living in the area. So from an ecology point of view, the owl is a kind of an indicator of the state of the environment. On a symbolic level, they seem to be an indicator of the state of the psyche. Now, this seems to be taken off again, and I'm only learning about it, and it absolutely fascinates me. If you have any good links or any good suggestions for books or anything that you've read, or any good conferences that you've had videos of, talking about the relationship, or even your own experience, even better, between owls and UFOlogy, please post this below. And thanks very much. I'm going back into the silence of the woodlands. Oh, we go. Wood scanger pigeon.